Hey guys, welcome to this week's edition of Chewing the Fat. This week, after a couple of sensational talks with Dean and a couple of our advisors and very special guests, I'm catching up with Leesa Harris, who has been on protocol for a number of weeks now and is just about to transition out of phase 1 and into phase 2 after losing just over, about 25.5 kilos. We're going to catch up and find out what the experience was like for her, what life's like now after losing the weight, and comparing what that was like to what it was before. Welcome, Leesa.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to have this chat with you. It's very exciting.
It is, isn't it? Tell us a bit about yourself. What had you find, or how did you find Simplr Health in the first place, and what had you get on board and make this life-changing sort of journey?
Wow. So firstly, what I think there was a couple key events that happened in my life last year. Mm-hmm. One being that I started the process to divorce and go through a property settlement, and there was some pretty intense stuff happening, and a couple other issues happened around that. And then, there was also, I was at that point where becoming single for the first time in a very long time was quite daunting, actually. And, there was somebody I was in a conversation about a potential relationship, and they weren't straight up with me. And I'd left a marriage where, I dealt with a situation where there was something that hadn't been straight up about that. And I noticed around, I think it was about July last year, I noticed just where I was at and looking at myself in relation to being in a relationship with a man. I was like, I noticed some old eating habits were coming back that hadn't been around for a very long time.
Right.
And I think I think it scared me a little bit, because they hadn't been around for a very long time. And at some point I just went, you know what, I'm not going to have, I literally did, well, I'm not going to have these other people's whatever lack of integrity, whatever you want to call it, whatever those things are over there, I'm not going to have that be anything about me. And I think that's the first time I'd ever said that to myself.
Right.
And I got the separation between, okay, well, that's whatever's happening over there doesn't mean anything, or it's not about me. Kind of like did this like line in the sand, was like, that's it. This is not going this way. And because I could see the correlation to what I was eating, to what kind of potential conversation I was starting to have about myself again. I was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Not doing that at all. And I had a couple friends who were working with Dean. I didn't know anything about Dean, nothing at all other than what I knew about him from Landmark, right? But I was watching these two friends of mine, and they were starting to look pretty good, and they were losing weight. And I was like, I don't even know what this thing's about, but I think I'll do that. I'll try that out. So I got in contact with Dean, and we had a half an hour chat, and I wasn't even, I don't think. And even at that point, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But all I knew was that I was no longer willing to tolerate how I was going through life. I just needed to do something about it.
Yeah.
And I think because I had a lot going on, I didn't want that to be the focus of my life. I figured if I was on a diet like this, whatever this diet was, or whatever this program was, I figured if I put myself on this program, I could actually give all my attention to that, which I think would have been, for me, seemed like not exciting, but more beneficial than having my attention on all this other stuff that was pretty full on and intense and dramatic.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, cool.
It literally was 3 weeks. It was like I started 3 weeks. There wasn't even like this whole, I've got to prepare and get myself into the right space. And I was like, no, let's just do this.
Do the whole, I'm going to start this, start with Dean in a few weeks. So I'm just going to go nuts and eat whatever I can. And how much of it I can possibly now, because I'm not going to be able to later.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's how it come to be.
Yeah, cool. All right. And then so jumping in, you start the protocol, and how long did it take before you started seeing results, and what were the results? I mean, it's obviously not just a weight loss program per se.
Oh, yeah, I don't think it doesn't. It's never occurred for me as a weight loss program. It's more about. So I started. I think it was 14th of April. August last year, I think, is when I actually started. Oh. So what's that? 7 months it's taken, and I think after the first week I started seeing. I don't know that I seen result. I mean, I looked first week. I lost whatever it was. 2 kilos. I can't even remember. Whatever it was, and so I seen that. Yeah. But there was also I knew I was up to. It was very rigorous. Like the structure was quite tight, and I would say, like rigorous, and well, that appealed to me. Yeah, that really did appeal to me and it was simple. At the same time, like you do this in the morning, you do this at lunch, you do this in the evening. These are the groups of food. So it was simple as well. But at the same time, there was, and I think one of the things I loved about Dean that just appealed to me a lot was he's like, and you have to do this with integrity. You can't be cheating. And I got that if I did, he was going to deal with me, which some people just won't do that. And I just knew that he was going to do that. And I loved that. Because I just knew that I wasn't going to get away with anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I needed. I needed someone who was going to be like that with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know for me, the talking about getting away with things, I get away with lots when I'm left to my own devices and I'm not accountable for anything. And that's when I get away with, whatever I want. And when you're not on the hook, it's very easy to get away with stuff. And I also got a lot about myself and the triggers I have when I eat and what I eat, how much I eat, and all those sort of things in different experiences along the way. Like at parties and things, I noticed I would turn to the snack table a lot as a way of being with the group of people that were just standing around talking, to distract myself from just being able to stand there and be with that group of people without having anything to do to distract my mind from, you know what I mean? Was there anything like that for you that came up along the way? Was there anything about yourself you got along the way?
Oh, not really.
No?
No, because No, because when I started the program, I really did make a promise to myself that I was going to do it as it was designed, because I knew that if you don't do it as it's designed, then it doesn't work. And I think because I had such I don't know what the word, I don't know if it's vision, but I was just so clear about what I was doing and what I wanted to accomplish.
100%. And
so, in fact, I think when I was around people or situations, I felt more determined.
Yeah. 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 I was at these parties, not turning around and grabbing, I was eating celery and cucumber slices and stuff like that. But it was more about noticing the wanting to turn to look at the food table, not as because I'm hungry and I want to eat or I want to look at all this stuff. It was just a distraction from just being with the people that were in the room and talking to me at the time. It was like a nervous twitch, if you want to put it that way. That were some of the sort of things that I sort of saw with myself that were coming up along the way, as well as all the educational stuff. Was there anything you learnt in particular that along the way about the food you eat and why you put it on the weight and why you lose the weight, or why it was hard to lose the weight in the past if you've tried before?
Yeah, I learned a lot about that. Still learning, actually, because, I'm about to transition and then do the maintenance, and I'm a little like, well, I've just done the easy part.
Yeah.
I've just done the easy bit. Like losing the weight's the easy part. It's the next 12 months or more that is going to take the real work and the discipline. And so I learned a lot about food. I learned a lot about how, particularly that I don't see it as exercise, just so you know. For me, it's training. I'm training. I'm a rower. I row. I train. And in fact, when I started the program, I was probably rowing 3 days a week, and doing a couple other things. And now I'm like, I probably train. There's some form of training I do every day. Sometimes it's twice a day. And one of the things that Dee said to me, you don't have to, this is a program where you don't exercise. I said, well, you're going to have to work that out because I'm not giving up rowing. So we're going to have to work that out. So, what was really exciting about that is that as I started to increase, the more I started to feel great and lose weight, the more I wanted to train, the more I wanted to get up stuff. So now I gym twice a week. That's a minimum. I erged once a week, minimum. There's rowing. I think I'm rowing 6 days a week now, and it's like the amount that I'm doing, and I feel great. But it's also, I've learned what I'm eating, the supplements. Taking my supplements, because I'm very disciplined about that. I've never been disciplined about taking supplements. I've been a shocker about supplements all my life. This is the first time I've ever been this disciplined about them, and they make such a difference. And the water, and this and that, and learning how to maximize all that I could do, and limited in some way about what I could have or not have. And how was I going to maximize that with the training I was doing to maximize, my body, the strength of my body.
Yeah, right.
So learning how to fuel all that exercise, really.
Yeah.
With the food.
What was the go of the supplements before? Why were you?
Say that again.
Why were you not into taking any supplements or assist, like vitamins or minerals or whatever supplements you're taking along the way? Why weren't you into that before?
Okay. So I think mostly, it's really out there, but I don't think before this program I ever thought I was important enough to take that kind of stuff. Like I didn't have, I really took this program on for me.
Yeah.
And I think prior to this particular program, I've done many diets, this, that, whatever, but it's like I've never been important enough to do that. Like I've just, I don't do it. So it's easy not to do it. Then you feel, pretty bad or crappy or tired or fatigued. And so you're in this vicious circle all the time, or cycle of things. So yeah, I think that's what it is, that was never a priority for me.
Yeah, right.
And a lack of education about what I was taking, what supplements do for me.
Yeah.
For my body. Not for me, but for my body.
I think that's one of the biggest things a lot of people are getting along the way is just the chemical makeup and why you put on the weight in the first place, how you're designed to do that in the first place, what's been in the way of you being able to lose weight the whole way along the way. Because there's been many people, like you just said, you've tried this diet, that diet, the other diet. There's a whole heap of stuff out there that is in varying different ways of how to lose weight. And once you learn the how and why to doing it, and then how to maintain that, or in your case, how to fuel what you're doing along the way while losing the weight, and then being able to maintain that. It gives you the lifelong skill of being able to maintain that. But what you said very importantly was the phase one part is the easy bit. And I think a lot of people relate to that as going to be the hard bit because, I'm not allowed to eat this and I'm not allowed to eat that and I've got to lose the weight and I've got to be disciplined and I've got to have willpower and all that sort of thing. But what we're seeing time and time again is exactly what you said. That is the easy part. You've got the structure there. You've got the goal there that you want to do in the first place. You've got all the reasons why you want to lose the weight. But once you've done that, there's a shift in the context of I'm allowed to eat, not so much in phase 2 and 3, but once you come out into that maintenance phase, phase 4, I'm allowed to eat whatever I like now. And a lot of people dismiss that phase as, it's cool, I know what I'm doing now, but they've never been trusted or in the position to, like, that phase 4 left to your own devices is basically you before you started phase 1. What's the outcome going to be in the end? It may not happen straight away because of the first 3 phases you've been to, but time and time again, we're seeing people are like, oh, it's cool now. I know what to do. Just tell me what to eat and I'll do that. It's a very important part of the Simplr Health Protocol is that phase 4 maintenance phase in really then training you once you're outside of that strict structure to just have that ongoingly so that you can trust yourself in that environment and continue that forward. So it's going to be really exciting to see how you go in the next few phases, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think as you were saying that, I think that for me, what would be different for me about the next phase for me, it's more about the relationship I've established with myself, about myself in the last 7 months that I think is pretty important.
Yeah.
Because I really started because, something was happening over there and I was like, wow, and I'm about to make that mean, that's about something about me. Okay, no, that's not anything about me.
Yeah.
And I did that for the first time in my life, that's nothing about me. And so I'm going to go do this. And so for me, the next phase for me is just building on that, my relationship with myself. And that's important.
Very.
And so, yeah, it's like, for me, really is a state change for me doing this program. And I said in the comments on Facebook, I didn't quite expect to get that many comments and feedback, and it was amazing. I was blown away actually. Yeah. And but that having that relationship with your coach is so important because they're in it with you.
Yeah.
And that's who Dean's been for me. I don't know that I would have accomplished quite the results that I've got without having that particular structure. And then, I really did create with everybody in my life what I was up to. I was going to party, like friends' parties, and they were planning the menu around me.
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. But yeah, it's my relationship to myself, I think, that's going to make the difference in the next 12 months.
And just doing the protocol with integrity as it's designed.
Exactly.
That's time and time again for the people we're coaching is like the night and day difference between the people that have the results like you and the people that don't have the results like you are that they just don't do the protocol with integrity. They don't food diaries every day. They don't make the calls once a week. They have always asking questions about, can I eat this? Can I eat that? Can I put this in this? Can I put that in that? What about if I do this? Or, then they'll go off the rails. But the people that are getting the results is really, really simple. And phase 1 is really simple. Just eat that and don't eat this. And send your food diary once a week and be on a call every day, and then be on a call once a week with the coach to get some.
Yeah. And look, I've been religious about that, 1 call a week. And there was a couple of times where I almost forgot to do, and it was great because Dean he didn't schedule a regular time with me.
Right.
He was like, well, it's your call, you cause it. So I have had to do it every week where I'll text him. And there was one week, I think I went like 10 days, and I was like, well, that's not a good sign.
Yeah. I know with some of the people I'm coaching, as soon as the food diary slip, they're cheating. And then can we move the call from this day to that day? Yeah, now I know what's happening before they even get on the call. It's really, but I've got other people who are just kicking goals, and another client's lost 6 kilos in 6 weeks, and she's just religious. I get the diary emailed to me every day, the calls on point every week. It's just like she goes, I don't even know what the calls and why I have to do this, but it's working, so I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. No,
So tell us a bit about what life's like now for you, just everyday stuff, from things like, I've noticed just tying my shoelaces was different once I'd lost 24 kilos. Compared to what life was like before. How's it different now?
Well, if we looked at the Facebook page, that when he posted that last week, because he texted me, I was talking to him about, because I did a regatta, not last weekend, the weekend before, and I actually did 5 races, and I've never done 5. And I don't know if you know anything about rowing, but it's a pretty tough sport. And to do 5 on a regatta days, it's starting to get up there. Yep. And so I was telling him about it and how much I was like, I did way better than I thought. I even won 1 race. Wow. And sharing about that all day. And then I sent him before and after photos, and it's because then he texts me and says, "Oh, can I put this on Facebook?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Not even really comprehending what he was saying to me. And then it's like I said, all the messages and the one thing that stood out amongst all the messages was, yeah, you look great, but it was that people said I looked happy.
Yeah.
And the last 12 months have been very challenging for me personally, not as in me, but a situation I'm dealing with, very challenging. And so for people to say you look so happy, I'm ridiculously happy. I am so happy. And so I just have this real sense of being grounded and just like strong.
Yeah, wow.
And look, and the thing is that the weight I am currently, I've been there before at this, like whatever it is, I'm 60 point, whatever it is.
Yep.
I've been there before, except now my frame is smaller than what it has been in the past that same weight. And that's partly because of all the training I've done and everything. And but I'm in size 8. I've never been in a size 8 ever. And in fact, I've been sharing with people lately, my actual body frame is small, the smallest it's ever been, even I think when I was in high school.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, so you can kind of I get all excited and I get all.
Pretty good.
And I think the other thing is that, there are people around me that have just gone, okay, you're doing it, I'm going to do something about whatever they want to do, whatever program they want to do. But it's just inspired them to go, I'm going to do something too.
Yeah, and inside of that, what you were saying before about you're worth doing it, and whatever opinion you had about yourself beforehand. And I think I spoke about this with one of the other people I interviewed, Dave, who'd lost 45 or 50 kilos.
Amazing.
One of the things he'd struggled with as losing the weight and posting the pictures and all that sort of stuff was the influence that he'd had and the inspiration that he had on other people. The downplaying of, but it's up to them, and if I've done that, well, that's all well and good, and that's great. But and I did the same thing. It was just like, well, that's cool, that's good, but you just want to get. That's amazing that just doing something like this, and when I started it with Dean and put my guts up on Facebook and said, and I was amazed at how many people would then, Dean would call me and say, do you know this person? Yeah. Well, they've started and they're like, they're down 4 kilos. And I was like, what? There were people I went to primary school with that I haven't spoken to that when he said their name, I said, I know that name from somewhere. Where? Oh, from primary school, I know that guy. Well, he's
Wow.
on Facebook and reached out. That's just freaking amazing.
Yeah.
To have that influence just by taking that on yourself and sharing yourself and what you're doing. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are taking it on, but what I love about it is that, they're doing something for themselves.
Yeah, exactly right.
And they're like, okay, I'm not happy with that. I'm going to do this. So
it creates a support network as well. I was talking to a guy the other day. And
yeah.
I've got a couple of people that are, whether they do this or something else, they've dropped 6, 7, 8 kilos, because I can't turn up to their house fat next week because I'm the one that had them do it. And
that's right.
I'm accountable. I've got and there's a whole circle of people around them now that are all taking their health on and keeping each other accountable, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. If someone had said that when I turn 53, I'll be in the best shape of my life, I would have went, oh, I don't think so.
Same. I mean, I haven't been in. I was pretty fit about 2012 to 2015, I reckon. But as you said, I wasn't the same frame size and body composition that I was. When I finished and said, this is the best shape I've been in my life since I was in high school and playing sports exactly. Someone said, "No, here we're doing Tough Mudder, and here's the photo. You've been this way before." It's like, no, I haven't, because I've measured it, and I might look that way in the face or whatever you want to look at it, but I was never the body composition I am now.
No.
39 in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. You sort of know yourself. I'd done 3 Tough Mudders back then, and it was great, and I was still training and doing the training that I was doing for those Tough Mudders when I was 24 kilos heavier.
Yeah.
Just didn't make any difference. Just, looking back on it, once I lost that 24 kilos, the training became a hell of a lot easier than doing everything 24 kilos. Like, I was picking up 10 kilo weights to do squat jumps and thinking I was actually holding 34 kilos and doing squat jumps. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. You maybe just think, because we're leg pressing currently at the gym. I think we're doing 125 kilo we're up to now. And I'm like, one of those 25 kilo weights was what I lost. That's incredible. And I've just been doing the centimeters. This is wild. I think if you do the centimeters, like you measure every week, that's just wild. Because I was telling my daughter that I'm 1.5 centimeters away from losing a whole meter of weight.
Wow. What, around your waist?
No, but overall, like, you add it up overall. So 90 in total, like, all the measurements that Dean's given me to do. So overall, over my entire body, 98.5 centimeters of weight I've lost.
That's insanity.
It's crazy.
It is.
And you go like, it's like this, and I think, no way.
Yeah. You just reminded me, actually, I've got to look up some. When I lost the 24 kilos, I went around to a mate's place who does he's a fireman, he does a lot of training and stuff himself.
Yeah.
And he uses weight vests for sand dune walks and things like that.
Yeah.
Come here. This will be funny. Let me load the weight vest up with 24 kilos and put that on and just see how it is. And that's what you were walking around. I had trouble walking.
Yeah.
It's like I started swaying to one side and it's like, what the? I walked around with this like it was normal. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Reminded me, I've got to go and get one of those so I can show other clients. Like, it's just a night. You don't notice it so much when you drop it or when you're putting it on over time. It's just the incremental type thing the whole time. But when you just go, whooshka, there's that weight gone. Now there's the difference. It's mind-blowing.
Totally. Absolutely. So I'm having the best time of my life.
Yeah, you look lit up, and the way you speak and everything like that. The Facebook, I'll put that photo at the start of the video because there's a way to do it. Someone showed me with screen sharing and whatever, but it's a bit clunky. I've got to practice to be able to put it into the video, but I'll put it at the start of the video so people can see. And even the expression on your face then, I think that pictures tells 1,000 words, right?
I did like I said, we did an erg session this afternoon, and one of the rowers, he's like a Australian champion.
What's an erg session?
Ergo, so it's a stationary rowing machine.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're not, generally people don't like them. They're they're harder than actually being on the water. And this guy he's a Australian champion.
Those, don't they? They have competitions with those on those rowing.
Yeah. They call them indoor rowing competitions.
Yeah, right.
So we're doing one later this year. And that's the other thing. I'm into all this stuff, hiking. And I was supposed to go canoeing this weekend. I can't go now, but it's like there's just all this stuff I'm also doing that I wasn't doing before. But he says, we've finished the session this afternoon. He goes, do you know that there was this woman that used to come to the rowing club that she looked just like you? Okay, and he goes, but she was bigger. Where did she go? He goes, I don't know where she went, but we're happy she went. And he says, how much have you lost again? I went, just it's about 25.5 kilos. He says, amazing. So I have people that like didn't speak to me before, speak to me now. And not because of anything, but just because it's, they look at me and they go, wow.
Yeah. I think Dave, the other guy I was talking about before, said his mum didn't recognise him when he posted the picture of himself. It was just a photo of him on Facebook. Out the front of a coffee shop having coffee, and his mum. He said, who was that you posted? He's like, it's me.
It's me. Exactly. That's really cool too. When people just go, oh, it's you.
It's weird. There's some people that can like put on 40 kilos and they look the same but fatter, and other people can put on 4 or 5 and they look completely different. Like they're like completely different people. And you just like put on 5 kilos, you don't look the same person.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So
So what's next for you?
Well, what's next for me, apart from transitioning and doing the maintenance, which I'm really excited about because Dean and I have spoken about that a little bit. So what I'm looking forward to about that is all that I'm going to learn about that, learning about food and how that food works with my body or doesn't work with my body, and getting to know my body that way. I'm very excited about that. And then there's, in terms of the sports side of things, like I've got another 2 regattas in the next month, one of which is state championships.
Cool.
And so we're training now. So it's like how improving that every week. So just, I don't know, having a good time. Buy more clothes. Trevor, I'm getting more clothes. And it's really exciting. When you lose this kind of weight, you get to go to the sales rack, because that's where you can now buy your clothes from the sales rack. And then you've got all these options.
I just love being able to fit in. There was a whole section, I say section like I'm organised, but just different shirts in the closet where I'd just be going, I'd open the closet in the morning and go, nah. Oh,
I know. Choice.
That one's not too bad. No, that one fit me okay. I didn't feel like I was it. Whereas the other shirt that I probably would have worn and wanted to wear was just like a sausage skin on me. And I hadn't been able to get into it. And then losing the weight, it was just like, open the closet. Yeah, I'll wear that one today. Put it on. Wow. But he fits.
Exactly. And the other thing I did that I think was really important for me anyway, was that at the beginning of the year, when I was still on holidays, I actually took a week, the last week of my 3 weeks, and that week I spent cleaning my room, but I actually got rid of all, I call them the fat clothes. I got rid of them. And people was like, well, shouldn't you keep on to them? I said, I'm not going back to them ever. So there's no point hanging on to them. I did. I was like, they're going. I've never done that before.
That's the same.
I kept the fat clothes and the skinny clothes, and they're gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
That's the safety net of, I should keep them.
Nope.
When I put it back on you're pretty much just condemning yourself to put the weight back on, really.
Yeah.
There's that back.
No, they're all gone. There were bags and bags and bags of all the big clothes, all gone.
That's amazing. All right, well, that's awesome. Congratulations, and can't wait to see. Keep us updated on how you go in your rowing championships. Very cool. All right, thanks, Leesa. And
thank you.
That's it for the Chewing the Fat this week. We'll be back now. I think Dean and I are going to get together for a chat at some stage when we can find the time, which will be good. Any questions about Leesa and her miraculous results, please leave a message under the comments in the comment section, and we'll get back to you ASAP. If you or anyone you know wants to take responsibility for their health and finally get things sorted once and for all, please reach out. We're here to help and support. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Leesa.
Thank you.
Have a good day.